So we are living in Thailand, living in the mountains, helping the Karen people. And in our village and in the villages surrounding us, the people are mainly Buddhist and animists, worshiping the trees and the plants and nature. So this past year, actually 2 years, we've gotten to work a lot more closely with the people and building relationships with them. And we've also had opportunities to work in the rice paddies. And God's just been showing me some object lessons between the working the ground and winning souls for God. And reminds me of the parable of the sower. We have to prepare the soil, we have to work the soil. And if you plant in bad soil, nothing really comes of it. You have to really prepare it, work it good. And it takes a lot of time, and for us, it takes a lot of prayer for these people. And you have to carefully plant when it's time. You have to make sure you have good seed. You have to know what plants need to be planted. And then the watering, you have to really pay attention to the plant's needs, whether it can handle a lot of water, whether a little water. You don't want to drown it, but if it uses a lot of water and soaks it up, you need to be ready to be able to give it plenty of water. And at the same time, we're not the ones causing the plants to grow. We're working with God. We're co-laborers with Him. You also have to watch for the harvest. You can't try to harvest too early, otherwise it's ruined. And you can't be too late, otherwise you've missed the opportunity. And you have to watch for the conditions for the plants. If it's sunny and warm, they grow better and faster. If it's really cold or wet, it slows down the process. So you have to be really watchful. You have to get to know the people that you're working with. You have to be praying for them a lot. It's been a really amazing last 2 years. The head woman, when we first moved up here, you have to remember she's from a Buddhist animist background. She didn't want to have anything to do with God. And we were really good friends, but we had to keep religion quiet and just live life. And so we helped her and worked with her a lot. And after about 3 years, she started to really open up. She was seeing a difference. And the major change was when my sister came and was drawing a Bible verse on the wall at our mother's house. It was in Psalms 103 that the Lord is gracious and plenteous in mercy, slow to anger. And I told my sister we should have the head woman come and check the Thai script, because we don't know the Thai script, but she knows it. So she came to compare it for us and to correct any mistakes and stuff. And when she read that verse, it just really struck her. The Lord, He's slow to anger, He's plenteous in mercy. Who is this God? And so she asked our family, our sisters, and our mom, is there any other verses I need to read? And so they had some other verses for her to read, and she had read the whole chapter, Psalms 103, and then she went home and we didn't hear anything else. She did take a Bible with her, and it was just quiet for a while. And one day she came up to Jason and I and started asking us questions about becoming a Christian. And so we talked with her a little bit, and that was it for a while. And then she announced that she wanted to be a Christian. And we were really excited because we hadn't been able to really share much with her. It was just a lot of praying and living with her and helping her. And so a little while later she got baptized, and because we don't speak her Po-Karen language, it was very hard to share with her biblical things. And so we've spent a lot of time praying for her, asking God to show her and reveal stuff to her as she reads the Bible. And He has revealed a lot to her. She has changed so much and grown so much We know it's not us because we can't speak that much with her. And so now she's working with us more. She's working at our office foundation, helping us with our visas and work permits, making it easier and more possible for us to be here. And she now knows why we're here, and she wants to help us. She knows we're not here just to help people. We're not humanitarians in that sense. We're here to show people who God is, to share the gospel with people, and she is so excited. She wants to help us as much as she can. We'll call him Grandpa Jacob. He lived in another village. He had liver cancer, and we found out about him about the time he was supposed to die. The doctors had given him about 8 months, and his 8 months were about up. And there wasn't really anything we could do for him at that point because he was on his deathbed, but we just tried to make his life a little bit more comfortable and easier, and just visited him. He loved being able to see our one kid at the time, and just to visit with them and take them some bread and stuff that our mom would bake, and they loved it so much. And after a while of visiting, I told Jason, you should see if he wants to listen to the Bible. So we have the audio Bibles. So he asked him if he wanted to listen to stories. And he said, sure, he doesn't have anything else to do and his radio doesn't work anymore. So we gave him an audio Bible and he started listening to it. And after about a month, he announced to us that he wanted to worship God. And we were really excited. And so we kept going every week and having worship with them and singing. And we would take a whole bunch of instruments, and he loves the violin. He just thought that sounded so pretty, and we'd just sing for a long time. And after they decided to worship God, it was maybe a month after that, Jason and I, we were here in our village doing whatever we were doing that day, and these guys came and they said, hey, we have a cow. This cow is from the other village. Would you be able to haul it back to the village for us? And I said, a cow? You want us to be cow haulers today? I said, okay, God, if that's what you want us to do. We had our brother Travis's truck, his big truck here, because it was rainy season. And so they got that cow up into that truck, and on the way out the door, I was like, I should probably take our bag that has our passports and stuff in it. Not that we'll need it, but maybe. And it happened to have 2 more audio Bibles in it. And so we went to the village, and they were trying to figure out where to let the cow out at, because you need to back up to a bank to get the cow out. The best place happened to be in front of Grandpa Jacob's house. So we drove all the way back to Grandpa Jacob's house and backed up, and they were getting the cow out. And his wife, Grandma Rachel, she came out to see what we were doing, because we don't normally come in the middle of the week. And I went, oh, this cow happened to be in our village, and they needed somebody to bring it back, so we're bringing the cow back. It's like, oh, okay. Well, you guys gonna come in and visit while you're here? And we said, yeah, we have a few minutes, we can come visit. So we went in and saw Grandpa Jacob, and the first thing he's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. The audio Bible has stopped charging. We can't listen anymore. And so Jason said, well, we didn't bring any more audio Bibles. And I said, yeah, I did. I grabbed the bag, and it actually has 2 in it. And so I went out and got him another audio Bible so they could continue listening. And then he asked if he could have another one, because there's other people in his village that need to know about God. And so I think during the time of helping Grandpa Jacob, we gave out about 5 audio Bibles to that village. And after he passed away, we went to visit them. We were one of the first ones they told that he passed away, and so we got a truckload of people from our village and went over to the funeral. And Grandma Rachel, she came out, she's like, do you guys have another audio Bible? Somebody came and took Grandpa's audio Bible, because as soon as Grandpa dies, all his possessions are just up for grabs. And so somebody else came and took his audio Bible. And so we had another one. I had taken some in case we needed them. And so she Jason got it turned on for her, and she sat down and she just listened to that for like a half hour straight. She just sat down and listened to it. I'd never seen anybody so hungry and thirsty to hear the word of God as she was. And her children asked her, now that Grandpa's passed away, are you going to return to worshiping the spirits? And she said, oh no, since what I've learned about God, there's no going back. I'm going to follow God the rest of my life. And it was so encouraging to hear that somebody else wants to follow after God. Another grandpa that we got to help, we also found out about him when he was on his deathbed. The doctors had given him about a week to live and sent him home to die. And he had a really bad headache. I've never seen anything so bad. He was miserable. He couldn't do anything except toss and turn and moan and groan. And so we went to visit him to see if we could help with his headache. And that's when we found out he also had cancer. And the doctors had done chemotherapy, but there was nothing else they could do for him. And the family wanted to know if we could help with his headache. But there wasn't much we could do because he was so far gone. But as we were praying, Jason felt impressed that we should do a charcoal bath, a neutral charcoal bath. And so we took our bathtub, took it over to his village. They had to pull some of the sides off of their house to get the bathtub in and to haul the water in and stuff. And they did the neutral charcoal bath for about 3 days, and his headache did go away and he was doing a little bit better. But then his blood pressure went up and we didn't feel comfortable doing the charcoal bath anymore. So we just kept going and visiting and seeing if there was anything else we could do to make him comfortable. And then I again told Jason maybe he should ask him if Grandpa wanted to listen to some stories. And so he went and asked him if he wanted to listen to some stories. He said sure. So we gave him an audio Bible, and he listened to it for one night. When we went back the next day, he had gotten a lot weaker, so he couldn't talk anymore. But his whole countenance had changed. And he had been a murderer. He had killed people. He had spent time in jail. You could tell he wasn't a nice person to be around. His wife, she's just really hard. And you can't really communicate with her because she has a wall up. And so he couldn't talk anymore to share with us if there was anything he wanted to share with us. And we didn't know, but just seeing the change in his countenance, we knew that something had happened, that God was working in his life. I was just imagining that he had listened to Jesus on the cross with the thieves on the cross, and just realizing that, for him, that could have been him, one of the thieves on the cross. He was a murderer. And just being up there with Jesus and just thinking of the life change that could have been for him, that God is willing to forgive anyone, no matter the circumstance, no matter whether they're about to die. God is willing to forgive them at any point. And so I also believe that we'll see him in heaven too. He lasted about another week before he passed away. And we got to go back and visit his wife just recently. We took her a bag of oranges because we wanted to keep up our friendship with her. And when she saw us, Jason gave her the bag of oranges. And she's like, is that for me? And I'm like, yeah, Grandma, we brought you a bag of oranges. She's like, all of them? I'm like, yeah, Grandma, all of them are for you. You're giving them to me? All of them? I'm like, yeah, Grandma, you like oranges, don't you? She's like, well, yeah. Huh. Like, okay, this is a little bit strange. And so as we were leaving, she actually thanked Jason for giving her the oranges. But I was so taken back by that. Normally people are used to getting stuff and being offered stuff, but she wasn't used to it. I don't think anybody's ever done anything kind for her. So we've worked with a lot of people in these mountains, serving them, helping with medical needs, taking food to them, doing massages, helping fix their tools, all kinds of different things, building relationships with them. And we just continue to pray for them. There's a handful of other people, some grandpas and some of their families, that they're just on the verge of, they see something different. We've shared with them about more of who God is, and they're just on the verge. They're really wanting to know more, but we're still waiting and praying because we don't want to push them. You know, it's almost time for the harvest, but we have to be patient. The fruit has to be just right. And so we're really excited to see what God will continue to do. The time is short. There's not many more days before Jesus comes back, and there's so many people hungering and thirsting for more. They don't know what they're hungering and thirsting for, but they need to know who God is. And so I just want to encourage people that the stuff that we live for, our daily lives, it's so easy to get comfortable, but we need to put that aside. We need to take up our cross and follow Jesus. We need to get out and share the gospel, because nobody knows who God is. They think it's just say the prayer and you're good to go, but no, God wants to change us. He doesn't want to leave us in our sin. He wants to help us, and there's so many people who need help. They need to be lifted up. They need help. And if nobody goes, they're not going to get the help. They're never going to feel the freedom from sin and the joy of living for God.